Liam Garrett floated in the observation module of the International Deep Space Observatory. Earth hung like a blue marble in the black void below. He had been in space for 3 months now, and the sight still took his breath away. "Commander, you should see this," said the voice of Sam Fuller, the station's sensor specialist. Liam pushed off the wall and glided through the station toward the science lab. The screens showed unusual radiation patterns near Jupiter. "What am I looking at, Sam?" asked Liam. Sam, a young man with curly hair and tired eyes, pointed to the screen. "These energy readings started about an hour ago. They don't match anything in our database. It's like something is pulling space apart." For 3 days, they watched. Scientists on Earth joined them, studying the strange readings. On the 4th day, it happened. A hole seemed to tear open in space near Jupiter's orbit. Through this hole came ships. Massive ships. The largest was the size of Manhattan. "My God," whispered Liam. Within hours, the ships moved toward Earth. World leaders gathered for emergency meetings. Military forces went on high alert, and everyone asked the same question: what do they want? The aliens answered that question themselves. They sent messages to every major broadcast system on Earth at the same time. "People of Earth, we are the Voidcrest Dominion. We come in peace, seeking friendship and cultural exchange. We have traveled far to meet you." The alien who spoke looked almost human, but with gray-blue skin and eyes that were too large and too dark. He called himself Ambassador Zirketh. In the days that followed, the aliens set up meetings with world leaders. They shared some of their technology. They seemed friendly. They asked to build what they called diplomatic outposts around the globe. Most people welcomed them, but not everyone. Dr. Abigail Morris worked at the North American First Contact Center in Denver. Her job was to study alien biology and help humans and Voidcrest understand each other. She was one of the first humans to meet the aliens face to face. "Their cell structure is fascinating," she told her boss, Colonel Frank Winters. "But I'm troubled by some things." Frank raised an eyebrow. "What kind of things?" Abigail showed him a gift the aliens had given her, a small, crystal-like object that changed colors in different lights. "I found these," she said, pointing to her microscope. Frank looked through it and saw tiny machines, smaller than dust. "What are they?" he asked. "Monitoring devices," said Abigail. "They record everything around them and send the data somewhere. I found them in every gift the Voidcrest have given us." Frank frowned. "Have you told anyone else?" "No. I wanted to talk to you first." Frank nodded slowly. "Keep this between us for now. I've had my own concerns. The Voidcrest are too perfect, too willing to give us exactly what we want to hear." Together, they decided to watch and wait, to look for more signs that the aliens weren't telling the full truth. Meanwhile, Zirketh met with his officers on the Voidcrest mothership. "The humans suspect nothing," he said. His true voice was harsh and clicking, nothing like the soft tones he used when speaking to humans. "Their defenses are primitive. Their weapons would barely damage our smallest ships." Another alien, Sub-Commander Vexnar, displayed a map of Earth. "We have placed outposts near all their major military installations and population centers. When the time comes, we can neutralize their forces quickly." "And their resources?" asked Zirketh. "Better than we hoped," replied Vexnar. "The planet has abundant water, rare minerals, and ideal conditions for breeding stock. The humans themselves will make excellent laborers for the deep mines on Caraxes 9. Zirketh made a gesture that in Voidcrest culture showed satisfaction. "The Dominion will be pleased. Prepare the final stages. We move in 6 months." Back on Earth, Liam Garrett returned from space. The space agency wanted all their best people working on projects with the Voidcrest. Liam was assigned to help design a new space station, one that would help humans and Voidcrest work together. But something bothered him about the plans. "These power systems," he said to his team one day. "They could generate 10 times more energy than the station would need." A Voidcrest engineer named Tazvin answered smoothly. "We believe in building for the future. Your species will grow into this technology. Liam nodded, but later, he reviewed the plans again. The power systems looked more like weapons than anything else. He decided to talk to some old friends at the military. One of those friends was Colonel Frank Winters. When Liam shared his concerns, Frank introduced him to Dr. Abigail Morris. "You're not the only one who's noticed strange things," she told him, showing him the monitoring devices she'd found. Together, the three began gathering evidence. They learned that the diplomatic outposts had massive underground sections not shown in the official plans. They discovered that the Voidcrest were mapping Earth's resource deposits. They found that alien ships were scanning humans, collecting biological data. Liam reached out to an old friend, Captain Olivia Blackwell of the submarine USS Barracuda. "If something goes wrong," he told her, "submarines might be the only military forces protected from immediate attack. You need to prepare." Olivia took his warning seriously. She quietly stocked her submarine with extra supplies and made plans to go deep if the call came. In Denver, a college student named Kyle Patterson built small electromagnetic pulse devices as part of his engineering program. He never imagined his hobby would become important. One day, when testing a new design in his garage, the Voidcrest monitoring device in his neighbor's gift stopped working. The neighbor, who worked at the First Contact Center, brought it to Dr. Morris. Abigail realized immediately what this meant. She called Frank and Liam. "We may have found a weakness in their technology," she told them. "We need to talk to this student." But time was running out. 5 months after first contact, Xerketh sent a message to the Dominion homeworld. "Planet secured, defense systems mapped, ready for harvest." The response came quickly. "Proceed." The next morning, Abigail was checking a tissue sample when her Voidcrest assistant Zikmore approached her. "You have been most helpful, Dr. Morris," said the alien. "You should know that you will be treated well. Your skills are valuable to us." Abigail looked up, confused. "What do you mean?" Zikmore's large eyes blinked slowly. "The harvesting begins tomorrow. But do not fear. You are classified as specialist labor, not breeding stock." As the meaning of these words sank in, Abigail's blood ran cold. She needed to warn everyone, but Zikmore was blocking the door. She had to think fast. Very fast. The clock was ticking toward humanity's darkest hour, and only a handful of people knew what was coming. Abigail's heart raced as she looked at Zikmore blocking the door. She needed to get away and warn people. She pointed to her microscope. "Before we finish, I found something interesting about your cellular structure. Would you like to see it?" The alien moved toward the microscope. As Zikmore bent to look, Abigail grabbed a heavy metal paperweight from her desk and hit the alien hard on the back of the head. Zikmore fell to the floor. Abigail's hands shook as she grabbed her phone and called Frank Winters. "They're planning to attack tomorrow," she said quickly. "We need to warn everyone." "Meet me at the emergency bunker," Frank said. "I'll call Liam and the others." Abigail locked the lab door and ran. Outside, everything seemed normal. People walked on the streets, cars drove by. No one knew what was about to happen. She reached the military bunker 30 minutes later. Frank was there with Liam Garrett and 5 other officers. "I've alerted everyone I can trust," said Frank, "but the president won't act without more proof. He's afraid of causing panic." Liam looked grim. "We may already be too late. I just got word that all Voidcrest ships are moving into attack positions." "What about Olivia?" asked Abigail. "She's taking the Barracuda deep just in case. She'll stay quiet and wait for orders." That night, no one slept. They tried again and again to convince world leaders that the aliens were not friends. A few believed them. Most did not. Dawn came. For one hopeful moment, nothing happened. Then the world went dark. All across Earth, the diplomatic outposts activated powerful weapons. They sent out energy pulses that disabled electronics. Planes fell from the sky. Cars stopped. Power grids failed. Next came the attack ships. They destroyed military bases, government buildings, and communication centers. Millions died in the first hour. In the bunker, Frank and his team were protected from the energy pulse by thick concrete walls. They had their own power supply and communication equipment. We need to get to Kyle Patterson, said Abigail. His EMP devices might be our only advantage. Liam nodded. I'll go with you. Frank, can you try to contact any military forces that survived? Frank agreed. Be careful. Out there, the Void Crest will be looking for any humans with special skills. They'll want to capture you, not kill you. Outside, the world had changed overnight. Smoke rose from burning buildings. Alien ships flew overhead, and strange vehicles moved through the streets, collecting humans. Liam and Abigail traveled carefully, avoiding main roads. It took them all day to reach Kyle's neighborhood. When they got there, they found something strange. While most of the city was in chaos, this area seemed untouched by the aliens. They found Kyle in his garage, surrounded by neighbors. He had built more EMP devices and was showing people how to use them. The aliens can't come within 2 blocks of here, Kyle explained. Their technology stops working. Even their environmental suits fail. Environmental suits? Asked Abigail. Why do they need those? I don't know, said Kyle. But without them, they seem to get sick very quickly. One of them crashed in a ship. Near here. When the suit failed, it started gasping like it couldn't breathe. This information excited Abigail. Earth's atmosphere must be toxic to them. That's why they wear the suits and have special environments in their ships. A police officer named Darnell Washington joined their conversation. I've been helping organize the neighborhood defense. If we had more of these EMP devices, we could push the aliens back. We need to contact others who are fighting back, said Liam. Is there any working communication equipment? Kyle smiled. I built a radio that the aliens can't detect. We've made contact with other resistance groups. There's a guy named John Rivera coordinating efforts from somewhere in Colorado. Meanwhile, Captain Olivia Blackwell and her crew on the USS Barracuda stayed hidden deep under the ocean. They listened to radio signals from around the world. Most were cries for help. But slowly they began to hear messages from organized resistance groups. Olivia made a difficult decision. We're supposed to wait for orders from command, but there may not be anyone left to give those orders. We need to fight. The submarine surfaced briefly to send a coded message to all military vessels that might have survived. This is Captain Blackwell of the USS Barracuda. We are organizing a resistance force. All surviving naval units report your status and location. 6 submarines answered her call. It wasn't much against the alien fleet, but it was a start. On the Void Crest mothership, Shirketh was pleased with the invasion's progress. The human military forces have been reduced by 80%, reported Vexnar. Their governments have collapsed. We are setting up processing centers to sort the humans for labor assignments. Excellent, said Zirketh. And what of the small resistance groups? Nothing significant. Some areas have found ways to block our technology, but they are isolated and will be dealt with soon. Make sure you capture their scientists and engineers alive. We need to understand how they are blocking our systems. Zirketh did not know that his conversation was being recorded. One of the human servants on the ship was actually a spy for John Rivera's resistance network. In Denver, Abigail, Liam, Kyle, and Officer Washington joined a growing resistance group. They converted an old underground parking garage into a base and built more EMP devices. Abigail worked day and night, studying the alien biology from samples they collected. If Earth's atmosphere is toxic to them, we might be able to use that against them, she said. One day, a group of resistance fighters brought in an injured woman. She had escaped from one of the alien processing centers. What she told them chilled their blood. They're not just taking people for labor, she said. They're experimenting on us. I saw them cutting people open, testing different things on them. They're trying to see if humans can survive on their worlds. Liam's face hardened. We need to step up our attacks. Not just defend, but take the fight to them. Kyle had been improving his EMP devices. I've made them stronger and smaller. We can attach them to drones and send them into their outposts. Officer Washington had organized a small fighting force. My people are ready. We've been training with the weapons we captured. Across the world, the resistance was growing. John Rivera's network now included groups on every continent. Olivia's submarine force had successful raids on alien supply ships. The humans were learning, adapting, and fighting back. And the Void Crest were starting to worry. 1 year after the invasion, Earth was a changed planet. But the humans were not beaten. Not yet. And they had discovered the enemy's greatest weakness. John Rivera stood in the underground command center looking at the map of Earth. Small green lights showed resistance strongholds. Red areas marked heavy Void Crest control. There were more green lights now than 3 months ago. The Denver group has expanded their safe zone to 10 city blocks, said his assistant, a former Air Force officer. John nodded. And what about Blackwell's fleet? They took down 2 more supply ships last week. They now have crews for 12 submarines and 3 captured alien vessels. This was good news, but the fight was far from over. John had set up his command center in an old mining complex deep in the Colorado mountains. From here, he coordinated resistance efforts worldwide using communication systems designed by Kyle Patterson that the aliens couldn't detect. In Denver, Abigail Morris worked in an underground lab. After months of studying alien biology, she had made an important discovery. It's not just that they can't breathe our air, she told Liam and Kyle. Their entire body chemistry reacts badly to oxygen levels above 10%. Earth's atmosphere has 21% oxygen. That's why they need those environmental suits and special air in their bases, said Liam. Kyle looked thoughtful. If we could force them out of their protected environments, they would suffocate within minutes, finished Abigail. This information spread quickly through the resistance network. Groups began targeting the aliens' atmospheric processors, machines that created breathable air for the Void Crest in their bases. In what had once been San Francisco, Officer Darnell Washington led a team of fighters into a Void Crest outpost. They planted Kyle's improved EMP devices near the atmospheric processor. When the devices activated, all alien technology the area failed. The aliens inside began gasping for breath. Some tried to escape, but without their environmental suits working, they collapsed on the ground, their gray-blue skin turning purple. The humans captured the outpost and all its technology. Similar attacks happened around the world as resistance. Groups followed the same plan. Aboard the Void Crest mothership, Zirketh received troubling reports. We have lost 12 outposts in the last week, said Vexnar. The humans are targeting our atmospheric systems. How did they discover our weakness? Demanded Zirketh. Unknown. But they are using it effectively. Our forces are retreating to ships and major bases where we have backup systems. Zirketh hissed in anger. Increase patrols. Find their resistance leaders. I want this insurgency crushed. But there was another problem the Void Crest faced. They had not expected the resistance to last this long. Their supply ships were stretched thin, bringing necessary gases and materials from other conquered worlds to maintain their Earth operations. Olivia Blackwell and her submarine fleet knew this. They focused their attacks on these vital supply lines. After each successful raid, they would disappear back into the deep ocean where the aliens couldn't track them. In orbit around Earth, another battle was brewing. Liam Garrett had been captured 6 months after the invasion while on a mission to gather intelligence. He was taken to a space station the Void Crest had built in Earth orbit. There he was forced to work with other captured scientists, but Liam never stopped planning his escape. Over months, he made contact with other prisoners and formed a plan. They secretly modified communication equipment to send messages to John Rivera's network. We can take control of this station, Liam told the other prisoners. There are 200 of us and only 30 Void Crest guards. If we can disable their environmental systems, they'll be helpless. The prisoners had been carefully hoarding tools and building makeshift weapons. They chose their moment when half the guards were called away to deal with a problem on another level. The rebellion started in the main control room. Liam and 4 others overpowered the guards there and locked down the station. Then they shut off the special atmosphere in the Void Crest quarters. Within an hour, the station was under human control. Liam sent a message to Earth. Orbital station secured. We have access to the Void Crest communication network and can monitor their ship movements. This victory gave the Resistance a critical advantage. With Liam's help, they could now intercept alien messages and better plan their attacks. Back in Denver, Kyle Patterson had continued improving his technology. His newest invention was a device that could penetrate the aliens' environmental suits and cause them to malfunction. It emits a specific frequency that disrupts their air filtration systems, he explained to Abigail. It's like an EMP, but it only affects their life support technology. Abigail was excited by this development. She had been working on something equally important, a modified virus that could spread through the aliens' artificial atmosphere systems. The virus won't harm humans, but when the Void Crest breathe it in, it will damage their respiratory systems, she said. Even if they escape to their ships, they'll carry the virus with them. These two weapons, Kyle's disruptor and Abigail's virus, became the focus of the Resistance's new strategy. If they could deploy both at the same time in a coordinated worldwide attack, they might force the Void Crest to retreat from Earth entirely. John Rivera brought the plan to Resistance leaders around the world. We'll need to hit all major Void Crest installations simultaneously, he told them. If we give them time to adapt, they'll find countermeasures. The plan required months of preparation. Resistance cells gathered intelligence on Void Crest bases. Olivia's fleet prepared for their biggest mission yet, attacking the aliens' orbital defense platforms to prevent them from bombarding Earth from space. Liam and his team on the captured space station worked to hack into the Void Crest defense network. They needed to disable the aliens' early warning systems when the attack began. The day before the planned attack, Abigail visited a refugee camp near Denver. Thousands of people lived there, hiding from Void Crest patrols. Children who had lost their parents who had lost their children, all victims of the invasion. A small girl approached Abigail. Are you the doctor who's going to make the aliens leave? Abigail knelt down to the child's level. I'm trying to. We all are. My dad said humans are tougher than the aliens think. The girl's father had died in the initial attack. Your dad was right, said Abigail. And tomorrow, we're going to prove it. That night, Resistance fighters moved into position around the world. Submarines surfaced briefly to launch special teams. Space station workers prepared to seize control of communication satellites. And in thousands of hiding places, people waited with Kyle's disruptors and canisters of Abigail's virus. The next day would decide the fate of humanity. Either they would take back their planet, or the Void Crest would crush them once and for all. Dawn broke over a world holding its breath. For the first time since the invasion, humanity was not running or hiding. Today, they would fight back with everything they had. John Rivera gave the signal at exactly 0600 hours. All across the planet, Resistance fighters moved on Void Crest installations. In orbit, Liam Garrett and his team activated computer viruses that shut down alien defense systems. Captain Olivia Blackwell led her fleet of submarines and captured alien vessels against the Void Crest's largest underwater base in the Pacific Ocean. They fired special torpedoes designed by Kyle. When the torpedoes hit, they released EMP pulses that disabled the base's shields. All vessels, move in, ordered Olivia. Deploy the virus canisters near their air intake systems. The battle was fierce. The Void Crest fired energy weapons that boiled the sea around the human ships. 2 submarines were lost, but the rest pressed forward. They placed the canisters exactly where Abigail had instructed. Soon, the virus was flowing through the base's air systems. Inside the base, Void Crest soldiers began to struggle for breath. Their commander ordered an evacuation, but it was too late for many of them. By the time human forces entered the base, most of the aliens were already dead or dying. Similar scenes played out across the globe. In what had once been London, Resistance fighters used Kyle's disruptors to break through Void Crest defenses. In Moscow, they attacked the aliens' central atmospheric processing plant. In Rio de Janeiro, they seized control of a landing pad where supply ships docked. Officer Darnell Washington led the assault on the Denver Processing Center. This was one of the largest Void Crest operations, a place where they sorted humans for labor assignments throughout their empire. Thousands of people were held in massive warehouses, waiting to be shipped off-world. Remember, our first priority is freeing the prisoners, Darnell told his fighters. Second priority is capturing their technology intact. They moved in under cover of night, using Kyle's disruptors to disable the perimeter defenses. When the aliens' environmental suits failed, they fell to the ground gasping. The fighters moved quickly, placing virus canisters near air vents and freeing humans from holding cells. In Colorado, Abigail and Kyle waited tensely in John Rivera's command center. Reports came in from around the world. Beijing outpost secure. Cairo base under human control. Sydney processing center liberated, but then troubling news arrived from space. Liam's voice crackled over the radio. The Void Crest mothership is powering up its main weapons. They're preparing to bombard Earth. We can't stop them from here. Zierketh stood on the bridge of his massive ship. His environmental suit had been upgraded to resist the humans' disruptors, but many of his officers weren't so lucky. Half his crew was sick or dying from the human virus. If we cannot have this world, then no one will, he hissed. Target their largest population centers. Begin with North America. The weapons will be ready in 30 minutes, reported one of his few remaining officers. Olivia received Liam's warning about the mothership. Her fleet had just captured the Pacific base, giving them control of several alien shuttles capable of reaching orbit. We need to stop that ship, she said. I need volunteers for a space mission. Every submarine captain stepped forward. She chose the 3 with the most experience and gave them a daring plan. While this was happening, Kyle had an idea that might save them all. The virus is working, but too slowly, he told Abigail and John. But what if we could use the aliens' own atmospheric processors to spread it faster and in a more concentrated form? How? Asked John. The Void Crest have set up processors all over the planet to create air they can breathe. If we reprogram them to spread Abigail's virus instead, it would fill every alien installation within hours. Abigail nodded excitedly. It could work, but we'd need access to their central environmental control system. John pointed to a location on the map. It's here, in their North American headquarters, but that's their most heavily defended position. I'll go, said Kyle. I know the technology better than anyone. Not alone, said Abigail. I need to modify the virus settings in person, and you'll need fighters to get us there. John made a quick decision. I'll lead the team myself. We leave in 10 minutes. In space, Liam watched as 3 alien shuttles approached the mothership. Inside were Olivia and her chosen captains. They had a simple but dangerous mission: plant Kyle's most powerful EMP devices directly on the mothership's weapon systems. The shuttles docked successfully, using identification codes Liam had provided. Olivia and her team moved through the ship, wearing stolen Void Crest environmental suits to blend in. The few aliens they encountered were too busy dealing with the virus to notice anything wrong. They reached the main weapon control room. As they planted the devices, an alarm sounded. We've been detected, said one of the captains. We need to move now. 10 more seconds, said Olivia, finishing the last device. Done, let's go. They ran for their shuttles as Void Crest security forces closed in. The first shuttle launched safely. The second took damage but made it away. The third, with Olivia aboard, was hit by enemy fire just as it cleared the mothership. Engine failure, reported the pilot. We're losing power. Olivia made a quick calculation. Activate the EMP devices now before we're out of range. The pilot pressed the detonator. On the mothership, all systems suddenly went dark as the EMP pulse shut down everything: weapons, shields, life support. Olivia's shuttle drifted away from the now powerless mothership. They had stopped the bombardment, but were stranded in space, with limited air. On the ground, John Rivera's team fought their way into the North American headquarters. Darnell Washington and his fighters joined them, providing crucial support. They suffered losses but pushed forward floor by floor. Kyle and Abigail finally reached the central environmental control room. Kyle immediately began working on the computer systems while Abigail prepared a highly concentrated version of her virus. How long will this take? Asked John, setting up defenders at the door. 5 minutes to hack in, another 5 to reprogram the system, said Kyle, his fingers flying over the alien controls. We don't have 10 minutes, said Darnell, firing at approaching Void Crest soldiers. They're sending reinforcements. Abigail worked frantically, connecting her virus containers to the main air system. If we can just hold them off a little longer. The fighting intensified. John and several fighters fell defending the doorway. Darnell was hit in the shoulder but kept firing. Kyle finally broke through the security systems. I'm in. Uploading the new programming now. Virus ready for distribution, said Abigail. On your mark. Kyle took a deep breath. 3, 2, 1, now. He pressed the final command. Throughout the building, throughout the city, throughout the entire continent, the atmospheric processors reversed function. Instead of creating breathable air for the Void Crest, they now pumped Abigail's virus into every alien installation. In orbit, Liam received a transmission from a badly damaged shuttle. This is Captain Blackwell. Mothership weapons neutralized. Request pickup, we're running out of air. Hang on, Olivia, said Liam. We're coming for you. On the Void Crest mothership, Zarketh watched in horror as his crew collapsed around him. The humans had won, and for the first time since arriving, at Earth he felt something new, fear. 2 weeks after the great counterattack, Liam Garrett stood on the bridge of a captured Void Crest ship. Below him, Earth looked peaceful again, though he knew it would take years to heal the damage from the invasion. The last of the rescue teams are returning, said his second-in-command. Captain Blackwell's shuttle has been recovered. She's alive, but injured. Liam felt relief wash over him. Olivia and her team had been drifting in space with failing life support when Liam's people reached them. It had been a close call. And the alien fleet, he asked. Most of their ships are disabled. The virus spread through their connected air systems faster than they could contain it. The few vessels still functioning are trying to reach the wormhole, but there was another problem. The wormhole that had brought the Void Crest to Earth was becoming unstable. The aliens had used devices called stabilizers to keep it open. During the fighting, many of these stabilizers were destroyed. The wormhole will collapse in less than a day, reported a scientist. Any ships that don't make it through will be stranded here. On the Void Crest mothership, Zarketh faced a terrible choice. His ship's engines were damaged. They could not reach the wormhole in time, and even if they could, the virus had infected most of his crew. Without treatment, they would all die soon. Send a message to the humans, he ordered, his voice weak from the virus. Tell them we wish to discuss terms. Back on Earth, Abigail Morris worked day and night in her lab. The victory had come at a heavy cost. John Rivera had died in the final battle. Darnell Washington was recovering from his wounds, and thousands of resistance fighters had given their lives. Kyle entered her lab, carrying new equipment. How's the research going? Abigail looked up from her microscope. I found something interesting. The virus affects the Void Crest badly, but it doesn't have to be fatal. With the right treatment, they could survive. Do we want them to survive? Asked Kyle. After everything they did? Before Abigail could answer, a call came in. It was Liam from orbit. The Void Crest are surrendering, he said. Their leader wants to negotiate. And there's something else. The wormhole is collapsing. Most of their fleet will be stranded here. A meeting was quickly arranged. The remaining human leaders gathered in Denver, now freed from alien control. Olivia Blackwell arrived, her arm in a sling but her spirit unbroken. Darnell Washington came too, still recovering but determined to be present. The Void Crest sent Zarketh himself. He arrived in a small shuttle, accompanied by 2 guards. All wore special environmental suits that protected them from Earth's air. Zarketh looked diminished, nothing like the proud conqueror who had arrived on Earth 2 years before. The human leaders sat on one side of a large table. Zarketh and his guards sat on the other. Liam spoke first. You came to our world uninvited. You killed millions of our people. You planned to enslave the rest. And now you ask for terms? Zarketh's large dark eyes blinked slowly. Yes, he said simply. We have no choice. Why should we show you any mercy? Asked Olivia, her voice hard. Because you are not like us, replied Zarketh. You have proven that. Abigail stepped forward. I've studied your biology. The virus is killing your people, but it doesn't have to. I can create a treatment. And why would you do that? Asked Zirketh. Not for you, said Abigail. For us. To show that humans are better than those who tried to destroy us. Kyle joined her. We have terms. First, you will surrender all your military technology to us. Second, you will share all your scientific knowledge. Third, you will help us build defenses against any other threats from space. Zirketh considered this. And in return, we will develop environmental systems that will allow your people to survive here, said Abigail. But you will be confined to specific areas, under human supervision. There is another matter, said Zirketh. Our homeworld is dying. That is why we seek new planets. Without Earth, my species faces extinction. Liam looked at the alien leader with cold eyes. You should have asked for help instead of trying to conquer us. The negotiations continued for days. Finally, an agreement was reached. The Void Crest would live in specially built habitats in remote areas. They would work with humans to develop space technology. And they would warn Earth about other dangerous species in the galaxy. 5 years passed. Earth had changed dramatically. Using adapted Void Crest technology, humans established colonies on the Moon and Mars. They built defenses around the solar system, and they prepared for the day when they might encounter other alien civilizations. Kyle Patterson became the head of Earth's new technology center. His inventions helped rebuild cities destroyed in the invasion. Darnell Washington led the global security force created to protect Earth from future threats. Liam Garrett commanded humanity's first interstellar ship, built using Void Crest designs. Abigail Morris and Olivia Blackwell worked together on diplomatic missions to other star systems. They made contact with 3 alien civilizations that had also suffered under Void Crest attacks. These aliens were cautious at first, but soon recognized that humans were different from the conquerors they had feared. In a special facility in Antarctica, the remaining Void Crest lived under human supervision. Their numbers were small, their power gone. Zirketh, once a proud commander, now taught young humans about the dangers of the galaxy. One day, Abigail visited the facility. She found Zirketh staring at the stars through a special window designed for the Void Crest environment. Do you regret coming to Earth? She asked. Zirketh turned to her. We thought your world would be easy to conquer. We were wrong. But I do not regret being defeated by your kind. You have shown us a better way to exist. And your people are adapting to their new circumstances? We are surviving, said Zirketh, which is more than we deserve. Later that week, Abigail and Olivia prepared for another diplomatic mission. This time they would travel to a gathering of species from across the nearby stars. Earth had been invited to join an alliance of peaceful civilizations. As their ship left orbit, Olivia looked down at the blue planet below. We came so close to losing everything, she said quietly. Abigail nodded. But instead, we gained the stars. On the ship's bridge, a message came in from an alien vessel they were approaching. The alien spoke in its own language, but the translator converted the words. Greetings, humans of Earth. We have heard much about your kind. They say you turned hunters into prey, conquerors into supplicants. They say that those who tried to enslave you now beg just to survive. We look forward to meeting such remarkable beings. Abigail smiled. Humanity had faced its greatest test and emerged stronger than before. And the galaxy would never be the same.